Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, corn dog lovers of all ages, welcome to In the Box with your hosts, Matt and Adam.
Everybody get...
Good evening. You may notice something different about the broadcast here. Seems to be it's only me tonight for a while. I am told there's some sort of NFL draft thing going on where for the first 15 minutes I will be talking to myself, which is really awkward because I'm not used to doing that. Hey Jerry, how's it going? Hey Kelsey, Megan, Leanne who retracted her message, and everyone else who happens to be here. In the box for what, Thursday, April 28th? I can't tell dates anymore. It's probably snowing outside for all I know here in Wisconsin. So we have the finals coming up. First game's on Monday night. Next game is on Sunday. First game's in Florida. Second game is in San Diego. Who is all watching the finals? Raise your hands. See, isn't that an I? That is definitely an I. It's not a L. I don't understand why people think it's an L here. Let me blow up the font and make it bigger and prove that it's an L. I mean, you won't be able to see it, but I'll be able to see it. It's an I. It's 100% an I. An I? Wait, an I? Or like the letter I with the little dot on top? Or you can't do it because then you don't know if it's an L or an I. All right, so we have some things to talk about. Some things that I will talk with my co-host when he joins, and some things I guess I'll talk about on my own. Florida has a new turf. For those who never thought that would happen, here's the day it happened. Great looking new turf. I mean, it looks better than anyone in the league, including Dallas's new turf that they just got this season. And yet, they complained about how the turf was going to cause the game and complained about, every time a ball went over, it was probably the new turf. And every time I went 3/4 of the way to Algonquin, Illinois, it was the turf's fault. And they kind of made it. It really does, Jerry. It's crazy how bad the old turf looked, and they were able to get away with it for so long. And what I want to know, or what I'm hoping, is that the league said, "Hey, you're not hosting any home playoff games unless you get a new turf," and just left it out there. What I'm hoping that's happened. I hope that Florida just didn't decide on their own to do that, because they should have done that years ago. I'm hoping the league said, you know what, you're not getting any home games unless you get new turf. And the next thing is the broadcast, because we still had the same shitty broadcast we've had forever. But what are you going to do? Big announcement today was that they are going to simulcast the games on Sirius XM with host one of our favorites, Ray Biggs from Utica. I think that'll be cool. The only problem is I don't know how you can do on a single device, mute the Twitch audio and play a Sirius XM audio. You could do it on a different device, but then that kind of defeats the purpose. So I guess those of us who are watching on a TV are stuck with the what am I trying to say? No emotional sound of Brian Ackley. Invited to elementary school to come over. So it's funny you say that, Jenna, because I know I don't think they did that this year, but I know they've done a couple times where they've had like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts or on the field after the game, and then they do like an actual like sleepover on the turf. And I'm just thinking about all the things that go on the turf, and that's I don't know if I like that. Chihuahua did not win the mini game. Heck yeah, we can talk about the games. Everyone went to a mini game, and actually, I don't even have my soundboard set. We got some last minute changes that threw me off tonight, so not really properly prepared for this show. Not like I am any other week, but hang on, please hold.
Mini game.
There we go. Now we're ready to go. You could do log rolls on the turf, Kelsey, but not after like guys are spitting and bleeding and sweating on it. Scotty just got a new job. Congratulations, Scotty. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it on the air, but he messaged me while I'm on the air, so I'm going to say it. Hi, Tara. Thanks for watching our show. At some point, Matt will join, although I'm hearing that Matt's going to join, but Matt won't be joining. So instead of having Matt and Matt on, we're just going to have Matt on. So Matt should be here about 7:45, but Matt will not be here, in case anyone was wondering about that. What? What did I do? Dennis said my name in all caps. I don't know what I did. Oh, I think I know what I did. So anyway, we need to address something here on the show. And before I get into this, let me put up this here. Okay, and now we're clear. As you guys probably know, there was a falling out between that other group and In the Box about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago in February. That actually was the creation of In the Box and why Matt and I split off. And it got worse. It started over the corn dog thing. Here we go. And it got to the point where someone who shall not be named, who everyone knows who I'm talking about, decided to call my integrity out on one of his live shows. The live show's since been deleted. But we were trying to raise money for the guys in Dallas because they just had all of their personal belongings stolen, including all their soccer gear, which isn't a big deal because the team will replace all the soccer gear, but all of their street clothes and their wallets and their car keys and everything. Like Juan Gamboa was stuck in Dallas with no passport, with no wallet, with no money, and no car keys, and his car was he was stuck in California. His car was in the Dallas airport and no way to open it up and no way to get into it. So we took a collection and we thanked everyone for doing that. We sent money directly to one of the players. We got a thank you video back from the team. It was really cool. It was a nice thing to do. And this person decided to go on and say not to trust sending your money to someone from the league because you never know what they're capable of and what they'll do with the money. So I went to a messenger and I said, hey, Greg, go fuck yourself, because that's not what I consider a friend would ever do to me. And he immediately blocked me and removed me from the group, which is fine. But the other day, it appears his accounts were hacked. And he made a post that said something about what was going on in the other group. And now at the time, I wasn't even home, so I don't know what he was talking about. And he basically accused Matt or myself or both of us for hacking his accounts. So once again, I will say, Greg, go fuck yourself. Seriously. No one's hacking your accounts from In the Box. We don't care. Like, you mean so little to me as a person. You're not a friend anymore. You were. I considered you a friend at one point. But you call my integrity out online. I'm done with you for life. You are less than important to me. Like, if there's a bug on the floor, I would pay more attention to the bug on the floor than I would to you, except for when I'm complaining about you on the air. So, to set the record straight, nobody hacked your accounts. Nobody cares. For you to post that is just ridiculous. I would request that you remove my name from your stupid little poll that goes on, because I don't care. I have nothing to do with your stupid little group. I have nothing to do with the people over there. Some of them are in the box. I converse with them there. I'm not in your group. I don't converse with people there. Next topic. Yeah, and someone did hack. They didn't hack his account. Someone created a fake Gerg account and was messaging people because Matt Huber got messaged by him, and Matt was trying to get info and trying to let it know that he knew he was a hacker and everything. But that doesn't mean that somebody hacked his account. That just means someone made a duplicate. So, but to people who are like that, anyone who works in IT, they consider that wizardry and mystery and don't understand what's going on. So that said, what do we talk about now? Did anyone hear in the semifinals game the combine commercial, talking about the combine that's going to be in Mesquite in October? Did anyone notice whose voice was on that? That's our very own director of communication media, JP Della Camera. And I thought it was weird because I think that's the first time his voice was used on anything all season long. And I mentioned that to someone and they said, well, would you normally assume a commissioner would be part of something like that? And I said, well, no, but this is like probably the most familiar voice in American soccer right now. You would think that they would take advantage of that. Like they kind of took advantage of the names coming in, but then really didn't do anything with them. Like we haven't heard from Shep Messing all season long, except for like one early on interview from that Philly did, and maybe some radio things that nobody listens to because it's radio. But I thought they would have done more with JP Della Camera's voice, promos, and things like that. So there's that. Any questions for anything that's going on? My co-host is supposedly joining me within a couple minutes here. I haven't heard anything else. Yeah, I mean, we were kind of thinking it would be cool to have JP call a game, and for the less experienced or less good announcers, have them use that as homework. Say, here's your homework for how to call a game and how to be cool about it and not sound like you're bored out of your mind. Kind of think of things that are appropriate, but that's hard. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so Jerry, I agree with you. If he was doing the radio call, that would be cool. But Ray Biggs has a great voice for this. He has a voice meant for hockey and indoor soccer for sure. And you guys can't steal all the thunder by doing your own broadcast. You guys have that next weekend. So yeah, so the finals are coming up. First game is on a Monday night, because I guess that's all. That's all they have. And I made the comment today that I thought it was kind of weird that Florida didn't just book all their playoff dates out, because kind of seems like that's something they would do. But they're gonna play on Monday night, and then Sunday I don't know what the 8th is the game in San Diego, and possible
Mini game
if required. All right, it's a minute after 7:45. Where is everybody? Let's see what I missed. So Wave fans, do you remember a certain game on March 11th in Kansas City where Ian Bennett scored a goal? Hey, Anna, allow me to...
mini game.
Okay. But anyway, March 11th in Kansas City, Ian Bennett scored a goal that was not called. I put a video out in the box breaking it down, basically saying that it was definitely a goal based on all the camera angles I'm seeing. Because there was no video replay, Ian got screwed yet again. And I called out the person by name, who I'm not going to call it on the show here, even if it was Ron Corey. What I did is previously in the season in Ontario, there was a game reffed by a Kelly Mock, that was just a complete disaster of a game. He couldn't keep up with the play. They completely missed a bunch of plays and things. And if you notice, he was never in a game after that reffing. So what I did is I went through all the games after March 11th. And the person that I mentioned before, who may or may not be around, Corey, refed only one more game this season. And it was on March 20th. And did not ref any games after that, did not ref any playoff game. That's extended vacation? I don't know. Oh, so Jerry, the Brown Ackley was a typo by Kelsey earlier today. But since we, here at In the Box love typos, that's his name for just like it's the St. Louis Ambuns, it's the Blarst, it's now Brown Ackley. I did not get him fired. I would not do that. But if a team were to complain about that, I'm sure that might. So at 7:46 p.m., I was told that Matt will be here in 5 minutes. But like I said before, Matt will be here in 5 minutes, but Matt won't be joining the show. But Matt will be here. So stay tuned. Something. Other things. I want to kind of save some of this stuff to talk about with one of my co-hosts here. Hey Jerry, let's call out your friend Craig Elston, who I already called out in the box. But it's funny because there was a couple comments made when they were simulcasting the game in Chihuahua, saying that Milwaukee's broadcast seems to miss goals and miss things while they're doing replays during a play, and San Diego missed one of their own goals during the game. I know it wasn't Craig's fault. I know it wasn't your fault, Jerry. And I wouldn't even place blame on anybody because the replays are probably like a set. You hit the button and it goes and you have to wait for it to be done. But, so that's that. Hey, Kelsey, how much are flights to San Diego right now? Even though I won't be able to go. Just kind of wondering. Let's see. Oh, did anyone notice the challenge flag disaster in Kansas City or in Florida against Kansas City? Hey Jack, we're waiting on Matt. So the good news is Matt will be here soon, but the bad news is that Matt won't be able to join us tonight. So there's that. But anyway, in Florida, so something happened. I don't remember the exact play. I just made some notes. Florida threw the challenge flag. The refs completely ignored it. Yeah, no Adams. Yeah. And Brian Ackley mentioned that the challenge flag is sitting out there. It was sitting out there for 15 or 20 seconds. It was on a free kick. I don't really know what happened. I don't know what was going on, but right, yeah, they don't have a confetti cannon. They need like that or like a paintball gun to shoot at the refs or something to make sure they realize what's going on. But what happened was the ball went out of bounds or something happened, and one of the players just ran over there, grabbed the flag, and threw it back on the bench. They gave it back to the team and just said, I don't know, it was too late or you couldn't challenge it or whatever. They never communicated that back up to the bench or the booth, and the booth never communicated what happened, and they just went back on as if nothing happened. So, basically, the challenge system works really well unless the refs don't see it, in which case you don't get a challenge or you get your flag back or something happens. So I noticed that was a mess. I know it's a new system, newer system, even though I've done it before, but if you have a green turf and a yellow flag sitting in the middle of it, someone should be able to see that. There's two refs on the field. There's at least two guys that are off the field. And there's goal guy. I mean, there's everyone with microphones. Someone could have been able to notice that on the field. But they didn't, so there's that. I'm running out of things to talk about. So, my co-host here joins. Maybe it'll be shot collars would be good. But who gets the button for the shot collar? If that guy doesn't notice it, then who notices it? I like the idea instead of a flag to have a paintball gun with one paintball in it. And then not only do you have to, as a coach, you have to make sure, and when you want to call the flag, you have to make sure your aim is on so you can hit the ref with it. Put like a big target on the ref's back or something. Never know. We raised money for Kelsey to go to San Diego. How much is too much? Over 700 round trip? Because when San Diego came to Milwaukee, they were $1,200 tickets. I wonder how much it is from Florida to San Diego. Oh, does Florida have a private jet, though? They still have to come home. Trying to get info about Scotty's new job that I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about online. All right, so predictions. Let's do one of these little poll things. All right, poll is live. Maybe. There it is. Who wins the Ron Newman Cup? San Diego or Florida? Cast your votes. So far we have 0 votes. So far we have 1 vote. 2 votes. Both Kelsey and Jerry basically asked the same question. Do you think we should have challenges in the regular season now? And then Jerry says, should we also have VAR during the regular season? I don't like the way it works with just one challenge flag. I don't understand why there would only be one, because if something happens in the first couple minutes of the game, which we saw in St. Louis, they throw the flag, they lose their challenge for the rest. I think it should be almost like an NFL thing where you either get one, and if you get it right, you can use another one, or you get 2 for the game and just do that. The problem that happens is if people don't use their challenges, they're going to just use it towards the end of the game for no reason. It's going to break the momentum. It's going to kill that. Then they get another one in the this thing.
Mini game.
And then they're going to use that towards the end of that just because they have them. 1 per half is good. And then, yeah, I think it should be referee's discretion. I think referee's discretion is a really good idea because there are certain things that maybe nobody wants to challenge that the referee sees, or like the guy on the in the box guy. Where's that sound?
Giggity.
I think that would be good. I like 1. Yeah, I like 1 per half. So we have 12 votes. 75% is San Diego, which I think is 8, if my math is right. Yeah, that's right. 12 votes on 14 current viewers. I'll just leave this up the whole time, I think. See what it ends on. Oh, so Scotty said I shouldn't have said anything about his new job. Sorry, I didn't mean anything. Please take that off. Or Soccer's taken 2 games, no extra time knockout minigame needed. I think it was funny that Florida's announcers kept calling it a extra time minigame because it's been called the minigame for 40 years. And Craig and Nate called it the knockout game. I don't know if you guys are doing that like on purpose, but big kudos to you guys. Fucking the system. Because we were told before the season started, we were told they're definitely getting rid of the minigame. And the way they got rid of the minigame is just name it something else. That's cheating. You can't just take something, give it a new name, and say we got rid of the minigame. That's not how it works. You can't call them game protocols and they're still not rules. Nobody likes the name extra time, but those in charge don't like the term minigame, so they changed it. But just for them.
Minigame.
I should just have that on a timer. I like deathmatch. I like deathmatch. In fact, we were talking about MASL with arena soccer and this and that, and how most Americans are dumb, and as soon as they hear the word soccer, they hate it because they don't like it or whatever. Oh, I don't like soccer. Well, it's indoor. It's not the same. Oh no, I don't like soccer. Kind of thing. So Aaron De La Rosa came up with the perfect name for this sport, and it's going to be called Thunderdome. And then deathmatch at the end of a Thunderdome match is like the perfect combination. Scotty, Matt did not quit, but Matt will be joining here shortly, or so I've been told. And if Matt is not here by like 8:10 my time, which is 13 minutes from now, I'm going to end the show. And if I somehow talk for 13 more minutes, it'll be a miracle. Oh, please hold. We'll be right back.
Now would be a great time for a timeout.
Now, back to them.
Hey, everybody, Matt's here. Oh, wait, you know what? Probably should get rid of that. One of these. There we go.
Cool.
I didn't have to change the text or anything.
Easy enough.
I told everyone Matt couldn't make it, but Matt will be here.
I made it, man. I told you I'd get on here.
So the last time we talked to you, you were not even announced to go to Rochester yet. It's been a while.
Yeah, man. Wow, that was crazy. Good conversation with Sam going to Rochester. I was looking forward to it, but obviously, things happened with them where they had to back out of it. So, yeah, it's been a little while for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to you. It was only a couple weeks ago that I talked to you.
Yeah, well, we were lucky enough to be in the same spots at a bunch of the home games. So
a weird coincidence that star goalkeeper Matt Perrella walks into Goolsby's an hour before he's supposed to play.
I'm like, hey, my uncle's here. I needed to drop him off so he can hang out with you guys first.
And you started that game too, the one I'm thinking of.
It wasn't quite I just want to say it wasn't quite an hour before the game, but it was slightly before I was doing the locker room, and I'm like, hey, just hang out. I'm like, Kirby's over there. Go hang out and have a drink with him. So it was good people. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Good spot.
So talk about your time in Milwaukee. How did you like the team, the city, the fan? I mean, the fans, obviously, you don't have to worry about that, but just kind of tell everyone what you thought.
Fans were great. Now that you said fans, let's start with that. I think some of my most favorite moments were after the home games when you kind of have the fans pop on the field and the kids run on and kind of line up to get autographs and you just get to chat with people. And that was always a lot of fun. So whether it was a really good game or a not so good game at home, you kind of perk up to give back to the people that are coming out to support you. So fans were great. Organization, obviously, we probably underperformed this year a little bit. I mean, there were a lot of injuries. Obviously having the year off, I think, hurt a lot of guys. So that was difficult as well, but my experience was pretty good. I enjoyed my minutes and tried to make the most of them. And then when I wasn't asked to necessarily be on the field, tried to do the right things off the field. So, and that's the hardest thing to do, right? Is kind of be consistent as a player and a teammate, regardless of what you're asked to do. So overall, the experience is great. City's awesome. I wish I was there when it was a bit warmer.
So does everyone here.
Yeah. Everyone's like, I swear the Springfest or Summerfest is awesome. Like, it's great in the summer for, 5-6 weeks of heat or whatever you guys get there.
Yeah.
But the weather is intense.
We have here we usually have like 4 months of winter and like 7 months of bad weather. We had so like I got really sick like 3 weeks ago. We had a day that it was like 75 and the next day it was 30. And
yeah, we had some moody days like that.
When you have sinus issues, and I know it's similar out east. It's maybe not as extreme, maybe, but it's when that happens, you have like sinus issues and asthma and stuff. Yeah, your body doesn't like that. But a lot of people said hi to you. Tara, Jenna, Scotty, Kelsey's gonna cry. Sarah Knoll says Matthew says hello to his favorite player. Basically, Matt's favorite player is Matt, but Matt's not here, so he's talking about you and not Matt.
Yeah, I love Matt.
Matthew is awesome.
Good relationship. yeah, I had a great time with a lot of people there. So I can't ask for much more from the interactions that I had with people off the field. It was pretty awesome.
Anyway, you and I have talked about this a lot, and we haven't really talked about it on the air because it's kind of a sensitive thing with Joey Capinos coming in and what happened there. And I've said this to a number of people. I was like, if Matt Perrella was just like a total asshole, it'd be much easier to deal with this. But you're not. Right. You're like the nicest person all of us have ever met.
I appreciate it.
And it was great coming by. I mean, I don't necessarily go by the stand in line to wait for you. I just kind of go behind your chair and say hi. Yeah. We kind of cheat that way, but we don't need
who's this guy?
I'm like, hey, family, taking pictures with your 7 kids. I'm just going to cut in here real quick, say hi to this guy and leave.
It's just part of it, man. It's just, when Joey came in, I had a great conversation. I didn't know him personally beforehand. I think the goalkeeper community is a little bit different, and it doesn't always turn out the way that it does in a scenario where when Joey came in and I had the conversation with him, just asking him, kind of learning about the guy. And even at the end of the season, after our last San Diego game, we had a conversation, and actually it was funny because his mom was there and we were just chatting, like total open conversation. So, I mean, there was no issues there. There was support. There were definitely times, and I think I said to Joey at the end of the year, I was like, hey man, I was like, if at any point, throughout trying to warm me up in a game or like on the bench, I seemed a bit off, I was like, I was, because it was hard to not be off because you want to be in there, but at the same time, you're trying to, you can only do what the coach asks you to do, right? So, even in the conversations with Jules and stuff, you'd be like, hey, this guy's playing or that guy's playing. It's like, hey man, you're the coach, you got to make a decision, and that's it. You know what I mean? So, was it difficult? Yes. Was there ever any like ill will or no? I mean, that's just part of what it is. Do I think it was a bit unlucky for me? Possibly, but that's what they felt they needed to do at that time. So
it's tough too, because it's not like you're a midfielder or if you were a defender this year, you would have been golden, because we've needed defenders like every game. There's one goalkeeper on the field at a time, and you can't just have, guys subbing in and out and in and out,
No, so it's funny that you said that, because when I had realized that I wasn't getting in the goal, I had said to Jules, I'm like, Jules, I'll run. I'm like, I'm fit. I'll run, dude. So he actually let me run in one training session. We were playing all in, and there was like a ball that popped up into the air, and I think Luan was going up for a ball, and I kind of popped behind him and headed the ball out, and he was like, this dude's pretty big, and he's behind me. Like, I'm not going to challenge him anymore in this. But I was for real. I was like, listen, if you need me to run, you need a defensive runner for somebody. Like, we're short. Like, I'll throw my body in front of the ball. So I was just trying to find minutes to, like, do something. I'm like, hey, why don't you list me as a field player? And if somebody before the game is kind of hurt, list them as the second keeper. And if Joey gets hurt, throw the 6th attacker shirt on me, and I'll jump in goal or something.
Hey. You're a strategist.
I don't know if that's not allowed, but
I don't know how that works.
We should probably keep that between our little community, because maybe I can do that in the future. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, this won't go. Nobody will watch this, so don't worry about it. There's not people watching it now.
There's 6 people watching this. We're fine.
We're at 17. Come on.
Yes. All-time highs.
I think it's because the other Matt isn't here.
There must be a blizzard or something in Milwaukee and Utica, and people had nothing else to do. And
our highest was we had 50 concurrent at one point.
All right, everybody go get your friends and let's get 51 right now.
Right, yeah. We were interviewing Ian when he was in Florida.
Okay.
And he was sitting in like a hotel lobby kind of area, and this much older woman, like late 60s, early 70s, comes up and starts talking to him. And he's like, oh, I'm kind of doing an interview. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. I just came back from the bar, and I thought you were pretty cute, so I wanted to come say hi.
Oh, my God.
And
Ian.
And Huber was sick that night and jumps on. He goes, what the hell did I just witness?
That's hilarious.
So we got a lot of viewers from that one, but unless you have a surprise guest coming in.
I love it. That's hilarious. No, doors closed. I shut it down. I got 2 dogs downstairs running around and a bunch of people shouting at the draft.
Yeah, I don't know. I stopped with NFL. I grew up a Packer fan, diehard Packers fan, and then believe it or not, indoor soccer came along, and I played as a kid, so I knew the sport existed, but we didn't start going to games until 2011, 2012, somewhere in there, and I've obviously gotten into it a little bit, stuff around the screen, this live show and stuff. NFL is just so slow to me. It's like,
well, that's how a lot of arena fans feel about outdoor, right? I mean, outdoor soccer. So,
and I'll watch outdoor over NFL now, and then. As a Packer fan, just watching your defense, just whatever they were doing for 10 years, and then the whole Rodgers drama preseason and everything, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just start the season without watching any games and see what happens. And I watched like half of a quarter at some point, and then half of one of the playoff games, I think, where they lost or whatever. And I was like, okay, didn't need to see that. Didn't watch the Super Bowl. I'd like to say
you're not a football guy.
Yeah. I'd like to say I freed up a lot of time to be more, motivated and productive on Sundays, but no, that didn't happen either.
I always end up watching games. It is what I'll watch any sports. It's just the competitive side I enjoy. I mean, I'm a huge Giants fan living in Philadelphia as well, so that's interesting. But again, there's a lot going on this week. You got the draft, and I'm a Mets fan as well. The Mets are playing the Phillies, and obviously we've got our finals coming up and stuff. So I'm psyched. There's a lot of good things to watch.
So I got some questions. Kelsey wants to know why you're wearing a shirt. Just ignore her. She has issues.
I thought you were gonna. I thought there was a finish to the question.
No, that was the end. That was it.
Thanks.
So
Thanks,
we did the Paper Plate Awards the other week, and she wanted to nominate you for the best striptease because apparently you took your shirt off on the bench and.
Well, so like the jerseys that we have are a little bit tight, like they're a bit small. So I've always chosen, I wear the practice jersey on the bench, and if I'm needed, you do a quick change. So I don't. Kelsey, you're funny. I don't know. What's funny.
Kelsey's awesome. Kelsey's come out of her shell this season, and we all appreciate it.
That's funny. I can't imagine her not being as vocal and bouncy and energetic as she is. So, and I appreciate it as well, and she knows that.
And you see the bag full of stuff she brings at every game.
She's crazy. We love it.
We love it. She snuck in, and if any arena people are watching this, is just a completely made up story, but she snuck in a full package of Oreos for Javi.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah. So Scotty kind of asked me. I shouldn't have said Scotty. I didn't say Scotty. Somebody asked me.
Yeah.
If you're coming back to Milwaukee next season, or if you've even had any conversations at all about anything.
We had end-of-season meetings, and I had a great conversation with Jules, and it was very open. One thing I appreciate about him, and there's a handful of things, but one thing that's great about Giuliano is, he's a straight shooter. He's easy to talk to. He's always willing to answer questions and give feedback. So not to get into details totally, but we had a good conversation, and obviously there were things that, I expressed that I would maybe hope would have gone differently. And I certainly didn't close any doors, and I don't think that necessarily he did either, but it's still so early in the process that, and again, I think for an organization like Milwaukee that the standards and the expectations are so high, I still think everyone is kind of trying to figure out, what all did go wrong. I mean, I know we like to say that there were a lot of guys hurt, which do I think we would have been better if the roster was healthy for a longer part of the season? Absolutely. But it's not an excuse. Everyone deals with injuries, and you just hope to not get hit with injuries at a later part of the season. Like my philosophy personally has always been try and survive the regular season and your training sessions even, right? People forget, like in training, you're just as likely to get smashed or hit in the face or break a nose. So it's always been like, hey, can I train hard enough to be ready for the games and play well enough to get enough wins to get into the playoffs to make things happen? Obviously finishing 8th wasn't part of the plan. But again, there were good conversations that were had. I don't think I'm ready. I think mentally I was just, we got back from San Diego and I left that day. I got back and I coach youth teams here. So it wasn't like I was in this terrible mindset because of the season or the way things shook out. But I have youth teams here that I coach in Jersey and a college team that I help and I run. So I was just like, hey, I got to get in the car. Like we got a friendly tomorrow. So I actually We flew back from San Diego, and I drove 7.5 hours into like Indiana, and then woke up at like 6 a.m. and did the other 6.5 to make like a 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock college game the next day.
Oh, that's
But
insane.
conversations were good. There were tough spots throughout the season with guys and with scenarios, and our locker room knows that. Guys on our team know that. But there's no one on that team that I wouldn't play with again. It's really just up to them to figure out what they want to do. And I have no idea. We didn't even get into that.
So you didn't wait like 4 days and then quit the team or anything?
No. Made it through the whole season.
Yeah.
But it was challenging. I will tell you that it was challenging. And that's all I'll get into about it, because again, as a team, we sort all that stuff out together. But
yeah,
it was a challenge. There were moments in the locker room and in training and in games where, guys weren't clicking and personalities clashed and things like that. And it is what it is. But
I went through, so I can't remember how many games this was. It was quite a few, 6 or 7, maybe even 8 games when, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was before Huffman. Huffman didn't play any before his finger, did he? Because he had the suspension, and then I think he hurt his finger right away.
I think he came in playing with his hand already wrapped.
Okay, so he missed the first 7. So it was before he started playing. I went through all the stats of all the field players, and like 2/3 of the roster was new. There was because Shamali got hurt the second game.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Well,
he got hurt in training. Yeah, he got hurt in training.
Right, yeah. So there were like 6 veterans and like 15 new guys. And the 6 veterans had 2 to 3 times the stats than the new guys did.
Right.
And it was just like, well, and I kind of said at the end of January, I said my because everyone is still talking about Josh Lemos and his visa.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think our goalkeepers are struggling. I think this is going to happen with Joey Capinos coming in or Josh coming in. And then like, you must have heard me because something happened, and I noticed you were more vocal, you were leading the team more, and everything just kind of clicked. And that's when kind of everyone picked up and started doing much better. And then a month later, Joey comes in.
Right.
But yeah, I think the big thing is you just look at what Rochester did. They came in with all brand new guys who'd never played, together or indoor, and they struggled for 2 years.
Right.
And you got Milwaukee with 2/3 of the team who's never played together, bunch of guys who are rookies. And now, granted, there's some great talent there, but it takes time to work together and develop, and you just kind of move together. I think that was a big issue. And then, not playing for a year or 2 years almost.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was like 650 days or something like that between home games.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a team like San Diego, who guys have played together for a long time, and there's just guys that know where their teammates are going to be in spots, and watching some of their plays, they don't even have to look. They put a ball into a certain spot, and I forget who played a ball to Childs in that last series where he out of the air, left foot, I think, put it across and it was like, yeah, you have to have played with the guy for a while or really, really known about it. And we definitely lacked some of that because of injuries or visas or, again, just youth. So, and again, I compliment our locker room because towards the end of the year when we needed to win, we found ways to win to get into that 8th spot. When, again, it was hard to not be negative at times because just things weren't going the right way, and guys fought through it. So it showed a lot of character in our locker room, but there's a lot of young guys, a lot of injuries to come back. Derek's a huge piece. Whether he plays in the front or in the back, if he's healthy and he's able to be on the field, he's going to help your team.
I told Zimmerman that if he doesn't play target forward forever, I'm dropping my season tickets. Because he was so. We talked to Utica guys and Ryan Hall specifically after the Utica game, and he's like, Huffman's a beast. He goes, they have him listed as defender, but then he's playing target forward. He goes, he's a menace up front. And I'm like, that's a good thing for us. Though. He goes, that's a great thing for you guys. That's not a good thing for your opponents.
No, he's gritty. He's scrappy. He plays the way he acts, and it's fun to watch. Like every time we'd play the ball to him, I'm like, he's going to shoot it. He's going to get a shot off, or he's going to put a ball in the box or something. Like, he's going to create something. So, if he's healthy or able to play for that whole season, we probably pull out, one or two more games. But again, there was not even on the skill end of things and experience. Like, I think with us starting out so slow, we mentally as a team, it took us a little bit to get into it because there was adversity in the locker room that hadn't had a lot of adversity as a franchise, where it's like, hey, we're 1-4 or whatever we were, and it's like, yo, this isn't the way that the Wave operates. So, and with there being a lot of new guys, we were like, dude, we don't know how the Wave operates. Like, we just know that it's been a winning team,
right,
but we haven't been here to figure out how you guys have put that together. So there's definitely going to be a culture change, I think, because naturally guys are getting older, and whether it's visas or age, it's going to change. The roster is going to be different. So,
or 5 MCL injuries throughout the team.
Yep, the injuries made a difference for sure. But you saw some young guys step up, right? And you saw some young guys that maybe didn't put in the shifts that they needed to. But that's when you have a lot of young guys that you're going to strike out on half and you're going to hit with half. So,
yeah.
I think the Wave are in a good spot going forward.
Hey, Jerry from San Diego wants to know if there's any specific players or specific teams you look forward to playing against.
Honestly, I enjoyed playing against Chihuahua. I enjoyed playing against, for whatever reason, the smaller arenas make me nervous, but I feel like I've played really well in them. So I always enjoy playing against in Baltimore, in Chihuahua. San Diego's fun to play against. Obviously, they've in the regular season dominated a lot of people, but and I got to play a half against them, so I didn't even play the full game. But I felt like in the half that I played against them, it was my kind of game where, as a shot stopper, somebody who wants to see shots from 8 yards plus, 7 yards plus, versus kind of more what the futsal goalkeepers look for, which in range. Yeah. I welcome that challenge, and obviously, playing with Tavoy in Harrisburg and then seeing him go out there and be successful is always fun. So Chihuahua for me is a fun one to play against. In Baltimore is always fun, and right now it's against San Diego, home or away, because right now they're between last year and what they've done this year.
Yeah.
You want to be somebody who's on the squad that beats them.
So what's your prediction for the final then? Is it obvious?
Is it obvious?
I think so. I went for them. Oh, I didn't see that. I was actually going to do that tonight, but I figured there's going to be a game between our show for next week, so I'll do it then.
I was hiding the shirt because I didn't want to upset anybody. But
no. So I did a poll earlier, and I think 75% chose San Diego.
By the way, I don't have a ton of MASL jerseys, but when we played San Diego, and again, obviously, for the people who don't, for the 17 or so people watching who don't know anything about me, my first season was in Harrisburg, and Tavoy was there with me, and he's somebody that that Harrisburg locker room when I started, we weren't a great team, but like the guys got on really well. So I love all those guys. So obviously playing with Tavoy and against Tavoy, I'm pushing for him a little bit. Also, Boris Pardo is a Jersey guy. So again, another goalkeeper that you kind of want to watch, and I feel like he's a really hard guy to root against. But also, we went to the same high school for a while. He's obviously older than me, but we both went to St. Benedict's in Jersey. So I'm like, shoot, you're a Benedict's guy, you're a Jersey guy. Like, you're a guy that I can watch and learn from as well. And that's not to take anything against Ricky and Diegas, who I support in Florida as well, and think they've obviously done a great job. I just hope it's a good series. I think if Florida is very aware of their transition to defend, if they're not successful going forward, they can make it really interesting. I just think that they have to be very, very careful of that. That's the piece for me, is can they transition and be very diligent defensively? And that's very hard to do against San Diego, who, again, they just seem to know where everybody is all the time. Yeah. I think Florida can score a ton of goals. The question for me is, will they transition in defense well enough? And also, are they consistently good enough in the back and in goal? And we'll see. It's going to be tough.
Can they fight off the barrage of 4 or 5 unanswered in a row that San Diego's going to have at some point.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta win at home.
Can they defend against Craig Childs in his 15 seconds of play where he scores 3 goals?
So when we played in San Diego, I that was one of the things I noticed. I was like, Childs was on the field for 4 minutes or whatever. He was maybe on the field for 4 minutes in the first half when he scored 2 goals or 3 goals. And again, he's not somebody that before this year I was really familiar with because I'd never played against San Diego.
Yeah.
So the year that I was in Harrisburg, we didn't play San Diego. The second year in Utica, I didn't play much at all, but we didn't play against San Diego, so I'd never seen him play. So this year was the first time where I'm like, and dude, Craig is if you're somebody who comes into arena as a rookie and you judge that guy by the way he looks, man, you are way off. And that's not a diss to Craig. I don't mean that in any disrespectful way, but like the arena pro athlete, like all-star player that, Craig is a stud, man. Like he's a finisher. He scores goals from wherever he's at.
The first game in Milwaukee, he came out, he was literally on the field twice in the first half. One, he took the free kick and scored off it, and the second one, he got the pass off the free kick and scored off it. That was all he was on the field in the first half.
Right.
Second half, he did.
On the set pieces when he's on that side, like there's a very good chance, So after we had allowed that goal, we were like, I think actually in that particular goal, we had a few guys on the field that again weren't as aware that he was on the field, and maybe again you fall asleep for half a second, but it was like watching it from. I'm like, Child's on that side, like he's winding up, like we should be cheating out to him a little bit, or so. Yeah, he's dangerous. He's fun to watch.
And of course,
because he doesn't need time to do anything. 10 seconds he scores.
He doesn't put a good shot in. He puts a spectacular shot in. That's perfectly placed every time. And it's like, how do you? And then he starts when we all noticed he was only in there for 2 plays.
Yeah.
And then he takes the opening kickoff of the second half. We're like, oh hey, Chow's in there again. And as soon as he kicks the ball back, he heads to the bench. Like, dude, he's just messing with us now.
I forget what was the score in that in Milwaukee. Was it 8-2 or something?
I think one was 9-2 and one was 9-3.
Yeah, that game in Milwaukee against San Diego, I would have loved to have been a part of. I'd had a great week of training leading up to that game, and I think again, like mentally for the position of just again being a keeper, anyone who's a keeper, if you're not the guy, or again, this scenario was playing a lot to not playing at all, really. And it took me probably, I would say 2 weeks to really just be like, hey man, like just switch on, train hard, do what you can because you're not in control of a ton of things. So, the week before or whatever, I was just like, I'm just going to have a great week of training. Like if this is going to be our last week of the season, just smash it. Right. So I had a good week and I was like, I'm ready to go just in case. But seeing the way that some of those goals were, do I think I would have made a difference to change that outcome? No, because 8-2, you got to score more than 2 goals, right? But like that, those are the type of shots that I want to be in the goal for. Those are the scenarios that I felt like I was like, I can get some of those for sure. But the standard of San Diego was very high. Is very high.
I mean, they were so 2 seasons ago. Well, 3 seasons ago when Milwaukee won the championship, San Diego only lost 1 or 2 games. And then didn't beat Monterey in the semis or whatever conference finals or whatever it was. And then in the 1920 season, I think they went again with only losing 1 or 2 games. But then it got cut short, so you never knew what happened. And one of my comments this year was that, so then the COVID shortened season, they didn't do well at all during the regular season at all. And then they just ran the table in the playoffs and won. And I said, and a bunch of us have said this, it won't be a legitimate cup win until they beat a quality Mexican team in the playoffs. And they've done that. And they handled it very well. I didn't think it would be, I didn't think it was going to be as out of reach, I guess, as it was in the minigame, because they pretty much dominated that minigame. I think what I was like, if they win in Chihuahua, it's over in 2. There's no way.
Right.
But yeah, they it wasn't one of these like really close wins. It wasn't a fluke win. It was like almost domination through both games, and yeah, I'm looking forward to watching them. Mostly because I just don't like. I mean, I like the players. I just don't like what they've
Why
been
don't you
doing.
like Florida?
So as a fan, I'm treating this just as a fan.
By the way, their new turf is sick.
Their new turf is great, but then listening to them complain about it all game long was annoying.
Yeah.
And I don't like the quality of the broadcast. What really turned me off was last year when they said the first game there was like no audio throughout almost the entire game, except for the time that you heard the producers say clearly. You could hear Brian Ackley kind of say, "Hey, they're complaining that there's no audio on Facebook," and the guy says into the mic, clear as day, "They're lucky they even have a picture."
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the game. So at that point, I was like, no, I don't know. This is not good. It just seems like amateur hour to me. And then the owner's he's trying to do what San Diego is doing, and he's trying to buy a team.
Well, that's, I think, one of the things that if Florida doesn't win, I think a lot of people will critique the roster that they have exactly as what you said, right? Because obviously they have a ton of individually talented players all over.
Yeah.
And they were good. I mean, we played them in Milwaukee, right? And I think if I had, obviously, I always put things on myself. But I think there were probably 1 or 2 goals in that game where I got super antsy and wanted to come out of my goal. And we maybe could have won that game, and not to judge them on one game, but I thought they were going to be a little more dominant. So, but they're obviously very talented, and that if San Diego goes into the game thinking how I just thought about it, they could catch themselves in trouble. Yeah. So it could work out. It might not work out. You don't know. And that's not to say San Diego's not star-studded either. I mean, they're not lacking in any. You can't look at any position that they have and go, oh, that's a weak spot for them.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But that's part of the league, and that's part of building a franchise and a team. I do agree with you that the broadcasting, though, there have been broadcasts that have bothered me, and I'm like, people wonder why we can't get on an ESPN3 or a BN Sport or something like that. And until it's consistent, you're not going to get that.
We interviewed Andrew Haynes a couple of years ago. He was I don't know if you know who he is. He was the guy who, so he was with St. Louis, and then he started Florida. He was the one who moved down to Florida and started that team. He's in the NISL now. If you leave, don't go there.
So go ahead. I won't even. It's not even.
So he said when he was in the league, whenever they were approached, or whenever they tried to approach someone like an ESPN or BN Sports or Fox Sports or like CBS Sports, they would always say, "Okay, show us your worst." They're like, no, we want to show you this great broadcast over here. And they're like, no, show us your worst. And
was it Turlock at the time, or?
And this was like when, like Turlock and El Paso were in the league and stuff like that, and Cedar Rapids, where they would have like it looked like an old 8-bit video game on some stuff, and just not good. And I think overall it's gotten better, but there's still, before the new turf, you can't put that product on TV. You can't do it.
Yeah, I think we'll get there. I'm hopeful that we'll get there. Yeah. Maybe while I'm playing it gets there. Who knows? I don't know. It's gonna have to happen pretty quick, I guess. I don't know. They've made a lot of changes, and hopefully it keeps trending in the right direction. Hopefully more teams join. Hopefully teams that are kind of on the bottom really make a push to get better, because that's why the game is fun when I guess Tacoma had a rough season, Harrisburg, but like when a Harrisburg is able to get some pieces together and now they are pushing for it, that's what you want to see as a fan. You don't want it to be so predictable. It's like, hey, Milwaukee's playing Harrisburg. Yep, Milwaukee's going to win that one. No, you want it to be competitive from top to bottom. So I think we're still, and I think what's going to help that is teams got to get away from, and I'm guilty of this myself, teams got to get away from one-year deals with guys. They have to get away from one-year deals.
Now, wait a minute. Time out here. I believe it was you who said that you were given some good advice by someone to say, always sign a one-year deal.
Yep. But it's not good for the league. It's great for a player. Because if you don't have a great experience, you're not bound to being at a club for another season. But the reality is does an organization and a fan base really want to fall in love with a player for a year and then that guy just leaves?
Right.
And how are you supposed to build as a coach? I mean, how are you supposed to build any continuity?
Especially considering it's going to take at least 2 seasons for players to gel together like that. You can't just Florida was kind of a unique situation, but look at what
San Diego's in Florida, right? Yeah. I mean, they both played the COVID year.
Yep.
And again, not that if you had Milwaukee with this year's roster play in the COVID year and then play this year, we're probably much better.
Yeah.
Not to take again, I don't want anyone to take anything personal that I say, but I think if we had played last year with the same roster and we were a tad bit healthier, we're probably slightly better than St. Louis and slightly better than Dallas. We probably have, I think, 2 or 3 more wins. And then again, the perception is a little bit different because you don't the season doesn't start as slow. But you have to lock guys into and it's on the organizations to make sure that the deals are good enough. Like, guys got to be happy with what they're getting. So I do know some people are probably unreasonable with what they ask for, and it's, again, with it being a 5-month league, you can't ask a team for $10,000 a month or whatever. I don't even know what guys ask for, but it would be great if they could get away from 1-year deals, so you can actually build a relationship with some of your teammates too.
When we talked to Keith Tozer before the season started, that was one of the points he said. He says teams should never let a guy get to the last year of his deal. He didn't even say anything about 1-year deals. He was saying you have a guy on a 3-year deal, you never let him get into the season on his last year.
Unless you're really not sure if you want to bring him back.
Right. Well, I think that's what he meant, is if he gets into that last year, you're already planning on not bringing him back.
Right.
Unless he has a super breakthrough year or something like that. But I think there's so many guys doing 1-year deals, and I think there's still teams out there doing like a pay-per-game deal. So
yeah.
1-year deal, playing per game, and when something else better comes along, I mean, I hate to bring up his name again, there's a reason Joey Capinos doesn't play before like February 1st, because his family business brings in more money.
It's the smartest thing you can do as a keeper too, right? Like, I'll just wait and see what happens and see who needs what. Yeah, but obviously he's got a business, his family runs their own thing and he's got to be there for that. So I'm sure he would like to be around for more than the, last 6 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it was. But the league allows it too. You know what I mean? Like, why do they allow it?
Yeah. Hey, we just got famous here. We got the webcams chat, hot girls and boys video chat showed up to our YouTube chat.
What?
Some spammer showed up in the public chat, started spamming messages up the thing, so I just deleted them all.
Love it. Bots.
Yeah. We've had a couple that show up and it's like just random characters that don't make any sense. But yeah. Yeah, I mean,
that counts as a fan. That counts as a view.
Right, exactly. We just lost 3 concurrent viewers right in that. Is it because I deleted them or is it because they showed up? No, we never know. Or did they leave to go to that site?
Yeah, they clicked. They screwed up.
We just lost. But so talking about the San Diego, Florida thing, I was voting for the most chaotic playoffs ever. So I had Chihuahua beating KC in the finals because then everyone gets mad and everyone gets pissed off. But I think everyone kind of saw first against second was going to be what was happening and what was everyone was steering towards. And I think that means that San Diego should win this. But to me, that's my pick, and I don't think they're going to lose. But you never know.
My prediction through it, not even prediction. My just thought was that it's. It was Chihuahua. I think after we had played Chihuahua, the 2 games in Chihuahua, because we played them 3 times this year, and I'm thankful that we had played them kind of in the middle of the season because they got really, really good afterwards.
Yep.
Not to say that they weren't really good, because I don't want to take away from the couple L's that I was able to help contribute to giving them. Still love Chihuahua. By the way, their announcers are fantastic, and I don't understand a word that they say, but I love both of those guys. But anyway, yeah, they got really, really good. And I don't know if they lost at home after we played them. I mean, maybe they had a loss to San Diego at home, but I know that they had lost 2 to San Diego early.
They lost 2 at home because every one of their games was back-to-back.
Right. So I don't know if San Diego traveled there again to play too. Regardless, they got really good after like the midpoint of the season.
Yep.
So I thought maybe they could trend and steal. Again, if they could steal a home game, which not even steal, they were good enough to beat anybody. Yeah. And they did it. So they gave themselves a chance to win that series. But again, in San Diego, it's a different monster. So if the first game had been in San Diego and the second in Chihuahua, maybe it's a tad different.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They're very good. They're very good.
And I think they had a weird end of the deal because they could never get any higher than 4th. So at some point towards the end of the season,
right?
Like when they went out east, Utica and Harrisburg, they didn't even send most of their roster because, like, well, we're stuck at 4th. We can't do any better than this. Can't do any worse.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Why would you run some legs?
It's a funny story. You know who Jay is, the kilt guy.
Oh yeah.
So
Jay the kilt guy.
He was talking, the kilt guy. He and I keep bringing this up because I was on the better end of this. Otherwise, I wouldn't bring it up anymore. Preseason, he was making his predictions, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna just put it right now. Milwaukee's going 24-0." And okay, well, that's probably not gonna happen. And then he's like, "I say right now, Chihuahua's an expansion team. They're gonna be the new Rochester. They're going 0-24." And he's like, "No, wait a minute. They're gonna go 2-22 because Dallas is coming back." And I'm like, Jay, and this is before like the point system was invented. This is before we even knew who the roster was on Chihuahua. Although we knew both Sonora and Monterey were not going to be in the league.
Yeah.
I said, so Jay, I bet you $20. Chihuahua finishes over 500. I'm like, that means in a 24 game season they need to win 13. He took the bet. And he's like, I'll be collecting from you on game 12 when they lose or whatever. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then they went 0-7. I'm like,
yeah, it was a rough start. It's crazy. It's crazy that they started out so slow. I mean, they had good players. They just needed some time. Yeah. And I talked to in broken English. I talked to Gonzalez over there, Gonzo, the captain, and they started to trend up and they're smashing. They're just hard to play against. There's not one guy on that team that doesn't work 110% up and down the floor. It's
when I kind of told this story before, so sorry if you guys have to hear me say this. I was a really big fan of Solosta Sonora when the MASL first was merged because it was so fast, and they get past midfield and everything past there is on a shooting opportunity.
Oh yeah,
and they're all great shots, and all the Mexican teams have done that. They just have a style about the way they play. They use the boards really well, especially defensively. They do some weird off the wall clearances that no one would ever think of doing unless you've practiced that like a million times.
I wonder if they practice like that or that's just them being scrappy. Because Sonora, when I was with Utica, we had played the 2 games in Sonora, and I got to play a couple minutes there.
Yeah.
But yeah, once they get over midfield, it's a shot. And I mean, they just, like I said, they don't quit on plays ever. They're running at you as fast as they can. Yeah. And they put the fear in, like if you're a rookie playing in Sonora or in Chihuahua, and I don't know, was Monterey a smaller arena too or no? Because I never played.
Not as small. They were more like 180-ish, I think.
Yeah, you don't have the time or space. So if you're a new guy or you're not the biggest guy, like you're gonna get smashed.
Right.
And I love that. I love that about playing in Chihuahua against them. I'm like, these dudes are just gonna hit you. Like, and the fans are relentless. They're exactly the type of people you want to play against. At least for me, I was like, I love playing there, being like trash talked for the 60 minutes. It was fun. Right. I loved it. I was like, I know what you're saying, and that's okay. I love it. Go ahead.
Did you see the game where Damian Garcia cleared a ball out of his own corner and shattered the glass because he kicked it so hard?
No, I didn't.
I can't remember if he was on Sonora. I think he was on Monterey at that point. And I think that was in the year before the COVID season. Yeah, I think so. He was on Monterey, I think. And yeah, he went to do one of those crazy clearances they do, and he kicked it into the glass and just smashed it.
It happens.
Someone named Matt Huber wants to know what the heck is Perrella wearing.
It's a blue jersey of a team that I didn't play for in blue.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of UCFC, what do you think about Ryan Hall leaving?
What do I think of Ryan's departure?
Yeah, departure, that's a good word for it.
That was a tough scenario. I don't know, man. That's obviously, again, we can talk about the visa issues, and I don't know how. I think it was probably equally on Ryan as it was the guys that were on that team who are veterans. And that's not to, again, just from the outside, not talking. I really didn't talk to any of the guys there throughout the season, but there were still a handful of guys there that have played the game for a while who have played against Harrisburg and Baltimore a ton, so they knew what they had to go up against. And, realistically, they had to win a lot of those games. I don't know how many they ended up winning against Baltimore and Harrisburg. What do I think of Ryan's departure? It's a really hard question for me.
Yeah.
From you, and you know why.
Yeah, I know. That's why I asked it.
I really don't. I don't know. I feel like, knowing Tommy, there had to have been more that was going on. Maybe, there must have been other disagreements or frustrations that maybe led to some bad things. I can't imagine that the organization was fully putting it on Ryan, because, again, like, it was the case of having some younger guys that probably didn't work out and step up, and some younger guys that maybe did show well and they will keep around. I think Andrew was out a few games, maybe with COVID early on too, or, I think maybe, again, I think it's a tough scenario when you've as a coach, you've known so many of the guys, and maybe you're not leaning into the guys that you've known for so long to step up. I think that was one of the things that I had kind of remembered from being there, was like, hey, lean into everybody kind of the same way, or if anything, lean into the guys that you trust in and have a relationship with more than the guys that are new. Because, again, the new guys don't know what the culture's supposed to be, or what what the model is. So lean in, let the new guys see you leaning into the veterans so that it trickles down. And again, from my experience there, that didn't really happen. So not to say that was part of it, but I don't know. Regardless of my relationship with anybody, I don't ever wish for somebody to lose their job. That always sucks.
Right. Yeah.
But there's got to have been things that went on there that, as fans and outside perspectives, as outside players and stuff, we don't know about. But I'm curious to see who they bring in and what they want to do. I mean, they have the fan base, they have the facility, they have the broadcast. I think when I was there, they were talking about, maybe moving guys to Utica or setting it up closer to Utica, which would be interesting because there's not a ton in Utica. Yeah. No offense, Utica. I love Utica. You guys are all awesome. But there's not – is it the city that I'd necessarily want to be in, for 5 months? Yeah, I don't know. So I'm sure they got a lot of conversations going on that are going to be kind of difficult.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that about the culture. When you've obviously been to Goolsby's after the games, where do the players sit and where do the coaches sit? They don't sit together.
Yeah. In
those situations. It's almost like I'm in the corporate world. I work in IT and type away at computer all day. But, like, the managers don't hang out with the employees because they need to have that kind of separation of duty there. And there are a lot that do, but it makes it really, really difficult if something bad has to happen. Like, you have to come down on a player for doing something. Can't be all buddy-buddy with them before and after the game, and then on the field just, come down really hard on them and then just go back to being, buddy-buddy again.
Yeah, I agree. I agree to the extent where if you start that way as a coach and you've allowed that to happen, then it's very hard to change it. And the funny thing is, and again, like, going back to the conversation you guys asked, like, hey, what was your conversation with Milwaukee? Like, I think part of my conversation with Jules at the end was, like, he knows that I coach collegiately at, like, a pretty high level, and I think he, part of that was he had a respect for me for that, and obviously him coaching this team. So, like, from a coaching perspective, like, I'll tell you straight up that, like, I am the exact same way with dudes who have played with me I coach a junior college, right? But it's top 5 in the nation. So I'm the same way with my second-year players as my first-year players. And if nothing else, it's more important to dig into a guy who's been with you so that the other guys see it versus, like, digging into the new guy and letting the other guys get off the hook.
Sure.
And I will say, like, part of the relationship, part of what I struggled with was like, and this was in Utica and at times in Milwaukee. Like, hey, if you're gonna lay into me like that as a first year player, when the guy who's been here for 12 years or whatever, and maybe is an all-star or leading whatever, like, dig into that dude too. You know, because at the end of the day, we're all guys that are 21 to 39 or 40, whatever it is. Like, as a 30-year-old, you don't think I see that, or as a 25-year-old, you don't think that we're aware of that. So, I think you can have a relationship with your team, but you better dig into somebody, and then at the end you can pull them in and be like, hey, I know I had to, I know that I said that to you is kind of a rough way, but like it is the way it is. That's how it has to be if we want to be champions, if we want to win. The other thing about the East, and I had said this before the season, I live with Tyler Turner, so I was talking to like Tyler, maybe Ian was there, and we were talking about it. We were talking about like just the strength of divisions. Like I still think overall, top to bottom, the East is the weakest division.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that the Central was the middle division, and I think because you had Chihuahua and San Diego and Ontario in the West, like that's like Tacoma. If you're looking at Tacoma going, oh, they were a bad team, like, well, maybe they weren't great. Okay, you can only cover, again, you lose a lot of games, something's up, but like they have to play San Diego, Chihuahua, and Ontario. Like that's pretty rough. Whereas I think for Utica, part of that decision is the fact that Harrisburg wasn't very strong. Baltimore, I still don't think was amazing this year.
Yeah,
like they were very beatable. Florida was very good. So there were probably a handful of games that they felt they probably, they should have done better with. And again, you got to blame somebody, right? Like you don't blame the assistant coach for your losses, and you don't praise the assistant coach for your wins.
Right.
It comes down to your top guy. So I hope Ryan finds another squad. He knows the game real well.
Yeah.
Somebody
in the box, Alec posted, is it too early to say Ryan Hall to St. Louis? And of course, everybody on the outside was like, there's no way that's going to happen. And a bunch of St. Louis diehards are like, how do you know? Well, how do you know how the owner coaches? And it's like, okay, we know what we've seen.
I don't know. I love St. Louis. They were cool to me for 2 weeks. I love Jeff and Shelly. I really do. They're great people.
We hung out with Shelly and her husband at the All-Star game in KC. They were great.
Yeah,
Matt,
fantastic.
Matt went crazy with the root beer. Was it root beer and apple moonshine? I think it was apple pie moonshine or something like that.
Sounds dangerous, Adam. Sounds dangerous.
See, I don't really drink, so although there was one game, I think it was after the Florida game, I ordered a drink and Jules and I toasted. So, like, here's to getting screwed by the refs one more time.
Oh man, they gotta get the refs on the same page. I love all the refs, but come on, guys, we gotta get on the same page, be more consistent. I think. What
I said before you got on while you were watching the draft was that there was a ref that missed a goal of Ian's in KC.
Yeah.
And he only reffed one more game after that this season. So it was March 11th. He reffed.
Is that his fault? It's kind of his fault, but also, like, did we have to wait until the playoffs to review, like, to put a review? Like, has that not been a thing in the past? And again, I don't know. I haven't been in the league long enough, but, like, was that not a thing in the past where you could have just been like, hey, maybe there would be scenarios where the review would benefit? Maybe it's not a challenge, but, like, as a ref, like, hey, I think that might have gone in. We should check this. Okay, blow your whistle, pause it, go check it out.
Yeah. They did
the games are long as they are. Like, just go check it out. What's adding another minute for you to go check the screen?
They did the challenge flag thing. Was it the COVID year? And they did some kind of replay thing the year before or the year before that. One of those years in there. But the owners have voted against it for the regular season. And it's like,
I think you need the challenge, man. I really do. And the one thing I would say, and I got to meet Mr. Tozer. I got to meet Keith at the in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And it frustrated me that they decided to do that so late in the year, and then they changed the ball late as well. I'm like, just wait. Like, Don't you have a list of things you'd like to review? Like, doesn't it make us look a little better as a league if we just wait? There's 10 things we want to review when the season's over, and you go and you vote on those things, or you just make the decision as a board because you're not going to make everybody happy anyway. But to do it in the middle of the season, to change the ball super late in the season was kind of was kind of weird.
You know what they
Changing
did,
the rules
right?
Kind of weird.
So the new white ball. So you played with the whatever last year. Well, you didn't play last year. So last year's ball was the first flight ball, and that was the one with the stars on it.
Right. Was
That
it the yellow
one-
one? The yellow one.
The yellow one, right? That one is
Yep.
more similar to the yellow one than it was to the white one.
Correct.
The white one, they put an extra bladder in there to reduce the bounce even more,
Uh-huh.
and then it was giving people concussions. That was the whole.
I mean, the ball's not giving people concussions. The fact that you have guys that can rip the ball and hit people in the face is what. So, like,
Sure.
I made this argument. I'm like, so we had a heavier ball that was traveling slightly less quickly for a ball that is now lighter, traveling faster. Which one's gonna, like, this one's coming at me faster now. So
Right.
is that necessarily safer? Like, there's more speed on it.
But all they did from the white to the yellow ball this year was take the bladder out, which is what they put it in the first place to make it less bouncy.
Yeah. I don't know.
We have to say something. You have a comment in the chat saying Matt is so dreamy with hard eyes by a William Willie B. That's his name. Shout out to Nick Vassos for that.
I talked to Will today. We're probably gonna be doing a camp in New Jersey. Any kids or adults, Matt Huber, that want to come out and work on your goalkeeping?
Oh, there you go. There you go. I asked the Wave a couple of years in a row, hey, is there a big kids camp? And now I'm like, you know what? I've hurt myself enough in my life.
By the way, speaking of Will B, Will's not re-signed with Harrisburg. Not yet, I don't think. I think Will's a free agent too. Me and Will, package deal. Who wants us? Let's go.
Mr. Zimmerman, calling Mr. Zimmerman.
Will B. See, that was the biggest thing too. In Harrisburg, the first year I played with Harrisburg, I was like, if you look back now, if we had both stayed in Harrisburg, that's a good one too.
So here's what it is. Here's okay. I'm gonna just throw this out to you. You guys will split time half and half, 12 games apiece, barring any injuries, of course. The games that he's first keeper will have Augie Ray as backup keeper, and you will be listed as a defender.
Yeah, I can do that.
And then the sixth attacker, if that just happens to come into play, you can wear that jersey as well.
There you go. Figured it out. You got it.
Yeah, that would be cool. They're gonna put some rule. I know there was a rule in place about when they changed the rule about sixth attack or about the goalie crossing the midfield crap. There was some wording in there about sixth attacker had to be someone rostered as a goalie or couldn't be rostered as a goalie or something like that. So I don't know how
you just make the roster 16 guys. Obviously, it makes sense to have two keepers because if somebody gets hurt, which happens, I hate to say often, but sometimes, you need that. But just like I don't know. If a team wants to throw their second keeper on the field, you really have an issue with that? Like, I don't understand why that's a big deal.
Hey, we need to take a quick time out. I think we're being joined by somebody.
Okay.
So, stay right here, and I'm going to hit the timeout button, and we'll be right back.
Now would be a great time for a timeout.
to them.
Guess who's here, everybody? Wait.
As I was watching the stream,
Oh, that's the wrong one.
I would
There we go.
defend myself. Not really defend myself. Matt, I don't know if you watched the game against Harrisburg.
Oh, here we go.
In March. There was a relay race I was involved in. I can't run.
Well, I missed the relay race, and I might have to go find it now that you're mentioning it.
Yeah. So at what point
it
did
was
you?
funny. Willie B actually watched it firsthand and got a kick out of it. So
I will go check it out.
There might have been a pulled hamstring at some point.
yeah, there was definitely a pulled hamstring. So there was a qualifying heat before the actual relay race. So winners got tickets to the suites, one of the suites in the odd.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll sign a team up. The team name was We Can't Run, which kind of set the tone for the whole thing. So they had a qualifying.
Story checks out.
Yeah. So it was top two made it to the finals, which happened between the third and fourth quarter. And my team was solid until the end. The anchor was running, and I hadn't run in a year because of my back. I have sciatic issues.
Oh, yeah.
So our team was in second. I was a steady second place, and I started running, and all of a sudden I felt.
How many teams were there? 2?
What's that?
5 teams? How many teams?
Yeah, it was 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 5. Top 2 made it. And I'm going up against this 9-year-old kid. And like a quarter of the way into the race, my hamstring popped. I couldn't run. The left side of my brain is saying, you better keep going. You got to beat this 9-year-old kid. And the right side of the brain is like, you can't run. But made it to the finals, and Hannah taped it. So it is it's in the box somewhere.
By the way, I loved Hannah. Hannah did like a Willie B Hannah thing. That was fun.
Yeah.
Willie B kind of chickened out of that. Oh, sorry, Willie. I didn't realize you were in the chat.
Call him out. Let's call it how it is.
Actually,
Adam.
he said he's a free agent as a target. So here's my new revised plan here.
Here we go. I'm in the back. Will's up front.
And we're bringing Lemos back. We're getting a visa for him, or we're just gonna name him something else. And he's gonna be keeper. You'll be defender and sixth attacker, and Willie B will be up front.
There you go. Uh-oh.
Do we?
What?
We have to give.
AJ Brown got traded to the Eagles.
Paper plate award, don't we?
Sorry.
What?
Guys, there's some NFL drama in my house.
Uh-oh.
AJ Brown got traded to the Eagles.
To the Eagles?
For the number 18th pick and a 3rd round pick.
Wow.
That's okay. It's the Eagles. They'll fuck it up. They'll screw it up some way.
Oh, I don't have that on here.
Adam, put the sign up.
I don't have that on here. Hang on. I can't.
Sorry.
No, it's. Oh wait. No, hang on. I can do it.
I get real fired up about the Eagles Giants things, guys.
Well, that's fine. Oh, here we go.
Adam, we have Willie B a paper plate award.
Sorry.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, there we go. Yes, perfect.
Okay. What was Willie B's paper plate award for best cake?
He is the according to him, he's the fattest soccer player in the world currently, and he wanted us to do the research.
Oh boy!
And he said if he wanted a paper plate award. So
Will's not fat.
He just said Matt running was the funniest thing I ever saw.
I will admit it was.
Comical.
I watched it a few times. It's
Brian,
not my best work.
Brian Hall thought you were. Yeah, Ryan Hall thought you were joking.
Yeah.
He thought you were doing a fake thing.
Yeah. He's like, why did you fake it? I'm like, no, there was no faking. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I pulled my hamstring.
He said, whoa, I said heaviest, not fattest.
Heaviest. Okay.
In America.
Thickest.
Okay.
Thickest.
I was gonna say fattest, like that doesn't sound like something Will would say. Because he's not a fat dude.
Thickest.
Okay.
240 pounds. Yeah. I mean, cake will do that to you.
Cake.
Yeah, I know. I like cake. I like cake a lot.
That's a good idea.
I need cake.
Should we just have a conversation about cake?
All right. Let me test both of you guys we're going to test your goalkeeping abilities. See if you can catch the cake. You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Dude, I thought you were gonna fall out of your chair, man.
I almost did.
Yeah, Willie says as long as I can beat Matt in a race, I'm gold. Which Matt though? Which one of you? There's Matt and there's also Matt.
I would imagine
it's gotta be, yeah.
And then there's Adam.
Well, you know what?
Matt.
May 22nd, you might see me, Willie. You might see me somewhere.
May 22nd.
Oh, is that the outdoor game?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, wait. So I want to ask Matt a question.
Yes.
Regarding the two, the Elite Six and the second team All League. What's one player you were surprised to see on either of those teams, and then one player you would have placed on one of those teams?
Oh, gee.
Well, I will not say all of San Diego.
Just first team San Diego?
Yeah. Like some people. I think Guerrero Pino didn't make either one. I thought that was kind of surprising. Who was on Mike Jones? I mean, Mike Jones is a great player. Maybe taking him off. Put Pino on. Great to see Juan Gamboa make second team.
I loved that. Because if you'd watched Dallas all year, Gamboa just is in the right spots. He's in good spots all the time. And because, again, I've met people for the first time a lot this year. Really good dude. Super good guy. And he had a great year. He really did. But he's in great spots all the time. So I was happy to see him make that.
Yeah.
My surprise was Nick Perrella. I think were there any midfielders chosen, or were they all forwards?
No, Perez was a midfielder.
Yeah.
First team, I think I completely agree. Well, so I talked to someone and maybe Robert Palmer not on that first team.
Right.
I also talked to someone.
I'm also trying to get that same person to come to Milwaukee, but he doesn't want to deal with the weather. I'm like, dude, it's indoor soccer. You're going to be inside.
Outside. It wasn't that bad. It was cold, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yes. And the bar's right across the street, so it's not like you have that far to go between places.
This is true.
It's not the closest from arena to bar.
Oh, hey, I had a weird question. For not also Matt, but for Matt. So let's say you show up let's say the Milwaukee colors were red and you were wearing your red goalie jersey and the refs came out in red. Would the refs tell you to change your jersey?
No.
Why?
I think it had happened. I think that may have happened once or twice somewhere.
So in where was it? Oh, it was in San Diego.
Oh. Well, you know what happened in San Diego? I think we screwed that up. I think we had worn black, and then they had decided to wear what were they wearing?
The yellow ones.
They wore their yellow because we were we wore black. They'd chosen to wear their yellow, and they'd only pack the goalkeeper yellows because we usually wear the yellows at home with the black, but the keepers have always worn blue on the road for Milwaukee this year. So I don't know. I think that whoever had organized the kits and conversation had just messed that one up.
So we've seen this throughout the years where we'll have like the sixth attacker, or we'll put on, or the goalie will have like a green and the rest will come out in green. In San Diego against Chihuahua in the semifinals, so Chihuahua had they had their black and red jerseys, and the refs were in black. And then Valdivinos did the same thing. He just wore their opposite away colors. He wore the white and gold on front, and San Diego was in white. It's like, don't you guys talk about this beforehand? And if the refs come out and see the entire team is in black, don't they have 4 jerseys they can go from? Like green, red, yellow, and black, I think, are the 4 ref colors.
Why do the refs have numbers, by the way?
Because they're sponsored by Capelli Sports. Capelli, challenge everything. No, that's not
Challenge
it.
everything.
It's a
In the box, challenge everything.
Right.
Oh my God.
we had Eric do that for us. Actually, Eric offered. Yeah, and Willie says if it's like a back-to-back and if the other is dirty, you just deal with it. But there needs to
All
be.
right, wait. I have another question for you guys because Will's on.
Okay.
Because Will's chiming in so much, and I'll start with also Matt on this one. Also Matt.
Yes, Matt.
He's nice. Yes. What? Also Matt, what's the best landing spot next year for Will B?
Well, you know what he's gonna say.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to say because I don't know how he feels about the current scenario. I mean, this is a tough question.
See,
and don't screw it up because Will's bigger than you and he can find you. So you better have an answer.
he is definitely, and he's quicker. I mean, he's a lot quicker, and yeah. I mean, yeah. I'll say Utica.
Of course he will.
Right, that's what I said.
But if you want me to think
No.
outside of the box,
I want your answer. I want you to give us the 10-second.
see, it's tough for me. It's tough for me to say Utica because right now they've got two keepers. They've got Coughlin and Wilkin, and I loved Wilkin this year. I loved Wilkin. Coughlin lost a step, but towards the end of the season, he kind of got it back. But I like Willie B better in Utica Blue.
Okay, fair answer.
Willie B's answer is Harrisburg, but I don't think that counts.
Did Will messaged?
He said Harrisburg.
Adam, what do you think?
That's interesting because we were talking. Who were we talking about? He said Muskegon Risers. We were talking.
Honestly, Will really. See, I'm gonna let out the sauce here, and Will's gonna be upset with me, but Will's hoping that Turlock comes back so he can go play there.
Oh, Turlock.
I mean, yeah.
He's desperate to be in Turlock. So, Will, I'm sorry.
That's a solid. Solid choice.
I don't mean to upset the Harrisburg fan base, but Will's fingers crossed for Turlock.
They have almost brand new
Mario
turf too.
Alvarez trying to pronounce his last name.
Oh my god, that would be great.
Oh no!
I miss the Turlock broadcast. I really do. There's something about that. I had a soft spot for them. That was my guilty pleasure team. Well, at home.
Yeah, Will's too.
So we had to talk about, and I can't remember who it was. I can't remember which goalie we were talking about or when it was. We were talking about like, oh, this guy could start on any team in the league. And then a couple of us were like, well, where would he really start? Like, you can't have him in Baltimore because Vanzella. You can't have him in Milwaukee because Lemos. You can't have him in St. Louis because Paulo. You can't have him in KC because Neto. You can't, and we were kind of just going through the teams. If he doesn't like the weather, I think Mesquite would be a great landing spot.
Could be.
I have a feeling Coyo Cortez is going back.
What if Hugo Silva's visa doesn't work out?
Yeah, but can't go to Florida. He says whenever Mississauga comes back, I'm going.
Well, he's talked about this. Oh, it's Canada. I'd love to go to Canada. I'd go to Toronto.
That was a nice arena.
Was. It's just too bad that they put nobody in it.
Yeah, and then ran off with all the money.
But apparently some teams have some teams don't mind not having people in the stands.
Yeah, speaking of which.
I didn't say that. I don't know what you're doing. It's getting late, guys. I probably should just, shoot.
No, you're buying points for the right teams and you're losing them against the wrong teams. So it doesn't matter.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just messing with everybody. This is a fun league. Let's keep it fun.
I do think it's interesting that the final two teams were in the bottom 4 in attendance through the regular season.
They're more concerned with winning, I guess. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs. Obviously, they're doing a good job of winning games, so
maybe if they win, then the people will come. But they won last year, and the people didn't come. Oh, I guess I named a team by saying that, didn't I? But Florida has to give away free tickets, and they can't get more than 1,000 people in there. I don't get it. I mean, granted, now Willie says.
I will say that as a player, there's nothing more deflating, right? Like dedicating your time and your energy and your body, especially in this league, your body. There's nothing more deflating than showing up and they're not being people. Like even, my first year Harrisburg, it wasn't great attendance, but like those people were loud, man. Like they would come and shout and they'd support you. And then obviously again, second year in Utica, for the minutes that I did play, like environment wise, it was cool. Yeah. This year, obviously Milwaukee, I really enjoyed playing the home game. I really enjoyed playing all the games, but really enjoyed playing the home games. Like I got fired up, man. So it's fun when you're playing in front of people. It's not the same when there's not an environment, that's for sure.
This year overall, attendance was down about 1,000 a game. Like across, like I even looked at the AHL, which is a hockey. The Admirals play in that arena. They're down like 1,000 a game, or 1,000 to 1,500 a game this year. Hoping that goes back up. Understandable why it is down, but
Yeah, I think it will next year. I mean, you kind of see an uptick in San Diego's attendance. I mean, yeah, because they're progressing further in the playoffs, but the restrictions might be lifted a little more.
Yeah.
Crazy. We'll see what happens, guys. But I'm looking forward to the finals. I appreciate you guys having me on. I got to roll. I'm getting yelled at.
I was going to say we better let you go because you're going to get mad. The wife is going to get mad.
I missed the whole draft. I saw my 2 picks and then
well, that's all we needed to see.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm looking forward to catching up again.
All right.
And,
absolutely. Anytime.
Once everything opens up, we'll have another conversation.
See you back here in November. How about that?
We will see. I won't say that you won't. That's for sure.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot for joining.
Later. Keep working on that hamstring, Hubes.
I'm working on it.
Later, man. Have a good one.
All right. See ya.
Later. See ya.
We'll be right back here.
Now would be a great time for a timeout.
Now, back to them.
Now
back to them. So fun fact, Willie, if you're still in the chat, you're going to enjoy this story. So I talked to Hannah today, and she's starting soccer on Saturday, and she's very, very excited. And she goes, "Dad, guess what position I'm playing?"
Center midfield.
And I'm like, And she goes, "It's one of your favorite." I go, "I don't know what." She goes, "Goalie."
I'm like, oh no.
I'm like, oh boy, Willie B is going to be really excited.
Yeah. Does she wear her glasses all when she plays?
She does, but I mean, at that age, I mean, it's not the balls aren't coming at you.
Yeah, but at that age, you're also more likely to get hit in the face.
So last year she didn't.
Okay.
She didn't wear them. I don't know about this year yet.
So at one point, Mandy was like 9, and she was playing defense, and it was one of those where the entire field is just mud and it's like raining and pouring and stuff. And in the middle of the play, she's like, "Mom, my glasses!" And she runs off the field to the parent side, not to the coach side. Her lens popped out of her glasses. So she comes over and it dropped on the ground. She picked it up, so it's like smudged with fingerprints and mud, and she brings it
It's
over.
like a wardrobe change, yeah.
The coach realized what happened, put another player in, and then we had her go around the field, but it was just kind of funny. Scotty wants to know if you're going to be the next head coach for Utica.
No.
No, probably not.
No, I have not been brought in for the interview process as of yet. I have zero interest.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've said, like I said, I've said everything I had to say on the whole thing.
Yeah. So
I mean, Utica's gonna bounce back with whoever they have as their coach, and
oh yeah,
I think you're gonna see some changes in Utica with players that have been with Syracuse and Utica for years.
Yeah. Something new. Yeah, shakeup is good. Oh, so Jenna says, "Go Hannah." Willie B says, "I don't recommend it." Elsie says, "Get her some sport goggles, you doof." And then Willie B says, "Adam, isn't your daughter a goalkeeper too?" She was. So let's see. She was a goalkeeper through middle school. Freshman year of high school, she was half goalie. And actually, she played goalie in JV, and then she played field in varsity because they already had a goalkeeper who was a senior. And then by the end of freshman year, she decided she didn't want to be goalkeeper anymore. And sophomore year, she was full-time field. Junior year, before soccer started, we moved. So she changed high schools, and then COVID hit and killed that whole season. And there were some other issues that I won't go into on the show, but she hasn't played. She didn't play her senior year, and she's all graduated, and she doesn't play anymore. But she's doing well.
What did I miss? Did we talk about the Sirius XM thing?
We did. Hang on. We talked about. I told Gerg to go fuck himself again. So we talked about that. Talked about.
We're in third and fifth place in the fan of the year. Whatever.
Yeah, I asked him to remove me from that because I don't care.
Oh, I should have asked him to remove me as well because yeah.
But I asked him on this, and he has me blocked, so he won't even know this exists. And I have no way to.
Well, then okay.
I have no way of contacting him, even if I wanted to.
Yeah. Well, we're in the same boat.
We talked about a certain ref missing the goal in KC, and then not only reffing one more game the rest of the season.
Oh yeah, yep.
We talked about Sirius XM. The games are going to be on with Ray Biggs announcing.
Which awesome.
Which
now I have to find out how to get Sirius for like a week.
Well, here's a problem that I have. I don't think you can play Sirius on the same device as you have your Twitch on. So unless I play Sirius,
I don't care. I will have YouTube on my TV muted.
No, you won't.
Or not YouTube, Twitch.
There you go.
No, Twitch. And then some other device with Sirius on so I can listen to Ray because I'm not going to listen to either one of the broadcasts.
I got to figure out a way to do that. I got to maybe do that. Maybe try that.
Yeah, but congrats, Ray.
Yeah.
I already sent my congrats, and he is super excited about having a Waffle House near his hotel. So he might be staying at the same hotel I stayed at when I was in Lakeland.
Oh.
But there was a Waffle House like right across the street.
Well, that's good that he's going to the game. So here, my first my first question. My first concern was if he was going to try to do this simulcast from another location. It's good that he's going to be there. My other concern is that the delay between video and audio. So my when I was a kid, my dad used to always mute like Green Bay Packer games or Wisconsin Badger games. He'd always mute the TV volume and put on his radio and listen to the radio guys. And one of them was always way delayed. And it was just the difference between the television signal and the radio signal. So will you be even further behind? You'd be like,
honestly, it won't matter to me.
Yeah, right.
I don't care at this point.
Like Ray will be calling a goal and it'll be like Tuesday or whatever.
yeah. Or in Ken Ezram time.
right. And that, Jenna, that's the question. Will the broadcast match up? I don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. There's gonna be some sort of delay. Did you predict the games?
We kind of did. Jenna says, Matt, get Hannah rec specs and get yourself Xanax to handle watching her play. Sincerely, fellow sock keeper parent. Yes.
I've been there. I mean, Hannah's been playing soccer for 3 or 4 years now.
Oh, okay.
And Henry is just starting up. So
Willie B says, once a goalkeeper, always a goalkeeper. True. I don't want to go into too many details here. I talked about it a couple of years ago when we had our kind of fundraising show. My daughter went through some severe mental health and health issues, ended up losing over 100 pounds to the point where she weighed less than 100, and has over the last 2 years gained some of that back and is much more healthy now. She's in a really good spot now, but at the time that she quit soccer, she was probably not even physically able to play. So maybe not once a goalkeeper, not always a goalkeeper, because it would like literally break her, but we won't go into that. Anyway.
But Hannah's super excited. I don't know how the glasses thing's gonna work. I guess we'll find out Saturday.
When Mandy first started playing goalkeeper, she and I went to the local park and did some just like kicking against a fence kind of thing. And I hit her in the face like 3 times. And she had glasses on. So I was like, oh, that's good. Then she got into contacts and then didn't need glasses anymore. But watching your daughter get kneed in the head so the first time she made like the perfect form, like head first diving and grabbing the ball off the player's feet, perfect form, perfect everything. The girl tried to jump over her, hit her with her knee right in her head, gave her a concussion, and she was out for like a month. And then in indoor, they were in seventh. Their team was 7th and 8th graders, and they joined a high school league. So they were playing against juniors and seniors, and just the difference in height and build and strength was just like not. And she got hit like top of the box to keep her level, right in the head, right in the side of the head, and it knocked her out. And she came back, and she didn't understand why she wasn't going to go play again in that game.
Yeah, I mean they do protect them. I mean they do wear the helmets, the Petr Cech.
That's good.
Goalkeeper helmets. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Maybe I'll go live on In the Box.
Oh, wait, on where?
In the Box.
Giggity.
Challenge everything.
Oh, this?
In the Box. Challenge everything.
That's so great. Hey, speaking of that, Joey Zanaboni just got an account on, was it Cameo?
Yep.
For $8, we'll do a personal message. $56, we'll do one for a business or a company. I'm thinking of offering him like 20 or 25 to do a line like that for In the Box. But then Eric will feel left out that we didn't give him money for anything. So we'll have to buy him another dinner or in case.
Yeah, we did buy him that dinner. That's right.
I think that'll even itself out. Barbecue versus cash. I take barbecue all day long.
Yeah.
If I get paid in barbecue, I wouldn't even work. Wait.
I would work for barbecue.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Yeah. But it has to be Joe's or that cheesy corn casserole thing from that one place we went to.
The Jack Stack barbecue. I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, that was good. I want bar. So I have a giant pork shoulder and I have a spiral ham, but I have an electric smoker that I don't know if you know the physics of or the mechanics of electricity and rain. Probably not a good mix.
I've heard it really is not good. I've heard things about like toasters and bathtubs is not really a good thing.
No, I've tried that. That's fine. It's just barbecue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well,
A little tingly.
I have no idea.
A little tingly and you're fine. No, I don't know how the toaster get in the bathroom in the first place. It would make things easier.
Did you
Oh boy.
did you play our favorite clip? Or our favorite sound clip?
Mini game.
Oh,
Perfect.
I want to take this completely out of context and just read one comment to you. And it's Willie B saying, if you pay me, I'll wear whatever you want. So we'll just leave it at that. And we lost Matt.
And I'm done.
Oh boy. Are you coming back? Or...
No, I had to get something to drink.
So in context, Kelsey said should wear a helmet, and then she said Willie B should wear a helmet too, and then he said I did freshman year, and Kelsey said but I want to see grown man you wearing a helmet, and then he said if you pay me I'll wear whatever you want. So, but out of context, it was much better than it was in context.
Okay. Now that I got everything, okay, great.
Yeah. And then Willie B is like, okay, good night, everyone.
And I'll see myself
And then,
out.
hey, speaking of which, oh no, we got 3 minutes left. We're almost to the point in the. See, I don't know if you're eligible for this segment.
I am not eligible for overtime.
Overtime.
I believe I can fly. No, I'm not.
I don't think you're eligible. So yeah, what are your picks for the finals?
Who's in it again?
You can't pick Utica this time.
I can't. I'll take Harrisburg in 3.
Okay. Possible. Probably not going to happen, but we can go with that.
Okay. So I've got to go. This team by San Diego or Florida. I don't know. It pains me to say either team.
Yeah.
I can tell you, Hannah will pick Florida.
Oh yeah, we knew that.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeesh. Florida in 3.
Oh. Well. Yeah. I'm picking San Diego. My thoughts when I was watching KC and Florida's series was that neither team was good enough to beat San Diego or Chihuahua the way they played. And then San Diego handled Chihuahua very well. And I mean, like I wrote in the post, it's theirs to lose. I think they do it in 2. But Florida certainly is not like completely out of it. They have a really good. I mean, if they can put a good game together, they definitely have a chance.
So I listened to some of the San Diego soccer show on Twitch the other day, and Craig Elston put some bulletin board material out there, especially for Florida, I think, saying that their 4 defenders, best in the league, and no other defenders would even make the Sockers.
Wait, whose defenders are best in the league?
San Diego.
Oh. So not last year's Defender of the Year or this year's Elite Six defender from Florida would make the Sockers? Okay.
Or the Defender of the Year before that.
Right.
Yeah. So he's basically saying no other defenders would make San Diego other than the 4 that they have.
Okay. We can go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say that
Don't get me wrong.
I don't want to say that he's very wrong because they've proven it. I mean, they
have, and I think the defense of Florida is kind of underappreciated, undervalued, underrated. I mean, Drew Ruggles, Chad Vandergriff, Rafa Alves back there. It's huge. I mean, dude is huge. Got a great foot on him. I think the big thing is going to be if Florida is to win, they're going to have to protect George Navarrete, Heiner House, whoever it may be. Because San Diego's got a huge advantage in that department, I think.
It is interesting. Kelsey, were you the one that did the numbers, or was it Lucy, of how many games each team had played versus teams that made the playoffs? And in a quick scan here, it looks like San Diego played. Let me count here while you guys just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They played 15 games. San Diego played 15 games against teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, okay, that's why you were counting.
That's what I was counting.
I was just looking at you weird.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's why and then Florida, I think it was worse. Florida had. Kelsey says, must have been Lucy. I only care about the players. Well, so Florida only played 23 games because things. 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13. So 13 of 24 were played against teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Now, they played each other twice, correct?
They played each other on March 31st. Yep. That was when both of them already had their playoff spots locked up. Only thing they were really playing for was the MASL, the paper plate award.
The plate, yeah.
But San Diego beat them 11-4. I don't know how much we can use that game to say how this game is going to go, because I think they were both in different spots in their seasons at that. Florida kind of didn't do too well in the last quarter of the season compared to what San Diego did.
Right.
So I don't think that's gonna. But Florida looked great in both playoff matches. Not as good as San Diego looked, but
it's. I've said it before, and I don't know why I picked Florida. I just think I just want Florida to win. But it's not how you start; it's how you finish.
Yep.
Florida falling off a little bit at the end of the season definitely kind of was a rude awakening. Like, you guys need to shape up, or you're pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And they're starting to get it together. I think a big X factor is going to be Zach Reggett. I think when he scores 4 goals, that offense is just on point.
I think it's going to be Eric's favorite word is goalkeeping for Florida. We already know what San Diego has, and it's Damn near
Maybe
unbeatable.
they'll figure out Hugo Silva's visa in time for the playoffs. Who knows?
Make him a student. Pay him in cash.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I say it out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you might have, but that's all right.
So the fan in me and the in the box problem creator, chaos stirring the pot person thinks that it'd be horrible for the league and the sport if Florida wins. For many different reasons. Image, a lot of things. The players it'll be great for. There's a couple in there that I think really deserve. The players and the coaching staff, really, it's just what we've seen the last couple seasons from don't make good for playing.
I agree. There are, I mean, a few players that I would love to see have a Ron Newman Cup under their belt.
Especially one that might come back to Milwaukee next, or should come back to Milwaukee. Definitely should. Might not, but should.
I mean, I might be able to talk him into Utica.
No, not a chance.
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about, though?
Same person.
Name right? No, I can't do that. His number? No, I can't do that. Okay. He has history here, though.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. What are you gonna do? That's pretty much all I had on my list of stuff.
Yeah.
Kelsey says literally no one wants to go to Utica. That's not true.
Why is my heater going on? I haven't turned on my heater in months.
Really? It's,
well, no. When the heater's turned on, I can't hear anything.
What?
Exactly.
It's 37 degrees out.
What did Kelsey say?
Literally no one wants to go to Utica.
Wow. Please don't make the trip out to Utica then.
Oh.
We are an M2 town. So, I mean,
right.
why would you want to?
And you're named after a bunch of chairs, patio chairs, too.
Yes, yeah. The name of the arena is named after chairs and money and.
Is there a bank inside the what is that name of that thing? Adirondack Bank Center? Is there a bank inside of there?
I mean, there's ATMs, but no banks.
So false advertising. You have that going against you.
Well, they don't have any Adirondack chairs around, so I mean,
that's strike three.
It's not really in the center of Utica, so this whole arena is a travesty.
Do you have any? Is there corn dogs there?
No.
That's it. Strike three. You're out.
Yeah, it's. I don't know why I go to games.
Right. Well, I do because you want to yell "contact above the head," which. By the way, for anyone watching the game
how many times? Jeez,
for anyone who watched the game in Florida, bro, we had a contact above the head sighting.
Contact above the head.
Oh, that was one of the best.
They brought up. So we did a watch party last night, and they also brought that up, the contact above the head thing, and I'm like, it's funny. I still say it, not like saying it on purpose, you know?
Yeah. My favorite part is when he kicks it 3/4 of the way to Bacon Level, Alabama. Or Bat Cave, North Carolina. Or Bigfoot, Texas. Or Booger Hole, West Virginia. I just searched funny city names in the U.S. and I got a whole thing.
A lot of them are in Pennsylvania.
Soda Springs, Idaho. Weirdest American city names.
Oh, can I know you probably haven't done this yet. Can I get a weather forecast in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, without you.
Either from yourself or Willie B if he's still in the chat.
I think he said goodnight. I thought he was kidding, but I think he really left.
Oh, well.
Currently in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania, it is 41 degrees on wind northwest. Wind north-northwest at 3 miles an hour, but there's gusts up to 9 miles an hour, so make sure your kids are strapped down. Air quality's fair, and it's clear.
They put out a wildfire warning here in upstate New York. It was 30-something degrees today. The winds were going to kick up and chance of fires.
Yeah, I could see that.
In 30-something degree upstate New York.
Do they start on their own, or do they just like show up within the like weather pattern? Just like fire clouds or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, wow. I would imagine like an 80-degree day, sending that out, but it's like freezing.
I think it's probably just because
it was snowing yesterday.
They went probably based on just the fact it was dry.
Yeah, but it was snowing.
Yeah, we.
So why do people want to come to Utica?
Because it's snowing and there's fire clouds. That would to keep me away. Yeah. Oh, Kelsey said, I don't even have anything sassy to say back. Mission accomplished.
Yay.
All right, well. Guess that's about it.
So does that mean we can end the show normally? Because you did give me a dad joke before the show.
That wasn't really a dad joke. It was more a little out of bounds for what we do here on the show.
Okay.
But I might have something. I might have a little something.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching. I'm sorry I was late, and you were in good hands with also Matt.
No,
actually, I'm also
Matt.
You're
also Matt. I'm not Matt. You're Matt.
You're Adam, not Matt.
Yeah. Let me change this.
Yeah. So next Thursday?
I don't know.
Thursday? Okay.
I have to figure out what we're doing.
Yeah.
We might go back to Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm in.
Have to figure because there's a game Monday. We'll have a show in between finals games.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Thursday has typically been band night since we moved the shows from that to Monday, but now I don't know.
Well, there you go.
Fridays didn't seem to work too well.
The only reason I would do a Friday is if Hannah was on the show, and
yeah,
it's pretty much it. So,
all right, well, good night, everybody. And before we leave, I have a little story.
Oh, good.
So my grandpa was mostly deaf in the later part of his life, and one day he was telling me about this great hearing aid he had, and he's always finding this stuff on like these infomercial. Like 2 a.m.
So not in catalogs or anything?
No, not in catalogs, Uncle Lewis. But in infomercials. And he's bragging about this thing, and he's like, "Oh, this is a state of the art." And he was always about state of the art. He had to always have at the top of the line. If you bought a computer, it was $3,000 with the top of the line. Whatever. Bought a car, it had to be a Cadillac. If you bought, a soccer ball, it had to be Flight because.
In the box, challenge everything.
If it had to be a game, it was always a
mini game.
That kind of stuff.
Of course.
So he's bragging to me about this top of the line hearing aid he got. I'm like, oh. I said, what type is it? He looks at his watch. He says, about 4 o'clock.